In a fire station in Livermore, California, there is a light bulb that has been burning almost continuously since 1901. Think about that for a second. It isn't some high-tech LED or a classified military prototype. It's just a hand-blown carbon filament bulb made by the Shelby Electric Company. It has stayed lit for over 124 years. It has outlived the engineers who designed it, the electricians who installed it, and likely 3 generations of firefighters who have worked under its steady, dim glow. Now, I want you to look at the phone in your hand or the washing machine sitting in your basement. If you're lucky, your phone might last 3 years before the battery turns into a brick, or the software updates make it so slow you want to throw it against a wall. Your washing machine might give you 7 years if you're lucky, but then a tiny control board fries, and the repairman tells you with a straight face that it's actually cheaper to buy a brand new machine than to fix the one you have. We've been conditioned to accept this. We tell ourselves, well, technology is just more complex now. Things are bound to break. But I'm here to tell you that's a total lie. The reason your great-grandmother's toaster is still cranking out perfect toast while your 2025 smart fridge is a useless hunk of metal isn't because we forgot how to build things. It's because a group of powerful men in suits met in a secret room in Geneva a century ago and decided to systematically steal your money by engineering failure into every single thing you buy. My name is Bill, and I spend way too much time pulling back the curtain on the invisible strings that corporations use to turn us from owners into perpetual consumers. If you're tired of buying the same products over and over again, or if you've ever felt that white-hot rage when an appliance dies exactly 1 day after the warranty expires, you need to hear this. Hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up, because today we aren't just complaining about poor quality, we are uncovering one of the most successful and destructive economic conspiracies in human history.
To truly understand why your expensive tech feels like it's rotting in your hands, we have to travel back to Christmas 1924 in Geneva, Switzerland. The top executives from the world's biggest light bulb manufacturers, names you know like Osram, Philips, and General Electric, gathered for a secret meeting. On the surface, they were industry leaders, but in reality, they were forming the Phoebus Cartel. Their problem was actually a strange one. Their engineers were too good at their jobs. They had perfected light bulbs that could last 2,500 hours or more. For you and me, that was a miracle. It meant you rarely had to buy bulbs. But for the boardroom, it was an absolute disaster. In a capitalist system, a product that lasts forever is a nightmare, because once you saturate the market, your sales drop to zero. You effectively build yourself out of a business. So, the Phoebus Cartel didn't decide to innovate, they decided to sabotage. They signed a formal secret agreement to artificially limit the lifespan of a light bulb to exactly 1,000 hours. They didn't just suggest it, they enforced it. They set up a massive bureaucracy of failure where manufacturers had to send samples to a lab in Switzerland. If a factory accidentally made a bulb that lasted 1,500 hours, that factory was heavily fined. Imagine being a brilliant engineer and getting punished for making a superior product. They were forced to re-engineer the filaments to be fragile and inferior just to ensure they would burn out on schedule. By the 1940s, the 1,000-hour bulb became the global standard. The cartel eventually broke up during World War II, but the damage was permanent. They had proven a dark economic truth. You can make significantly more money selling a broken product twice than selling a perfect product once. This was the birth of planned obsolescence, the business model that now runs the entire world. It started with light bulbs, but it was really just a beta test for a philosophy that would soon spread like a virus through every industry on the planet, changing our relationship with our possessions forever. After the light bulb experiment, the philosophy of planned failure spread like wildfire. In the 1920s, the automotive industry hit a wall. Henry Ford had dominated the market with the Model T, but there was a problem. It was too reliable. It was cheap, sturdy, and easy to fix in a barn with a basic wrench. Once everyone had a Model T, sales plummeted because nobody needed a new one. Enter Alfred Sloan, the head of General Motors. He looked at what the light bulb guys did and realized he couldn't just make cars that exploded after 2 years. That would kill the brand. So he invented something even more subtle, psychological obsolescence, or what he called dynamic obsolescence. Sloan introduced the annual model change. He started changing the headlights, the curves of the fenders, and the colors every single year. He realized that if you were driving a 1923 Chevy in 1925, he could make you feel like you were driving an antique. He weaponized your ego and your desire for status. He didn't have to break the machine. He just had to break your satisfaction with it. This is the exact reason why we have a new iPhone every September. Does the newest model do anything radically different than the one in your pocket? Usually not, but it has a slightly different camera layout or a new exclusive color. That visual signal tells the world you're up to date, and that psychological itch is worth billions to Apple. Fast forward to late 2025, and the game has evolved into something even more sinister. We've moved from physical fragility to digital fragility. We are now living in the era of software lockouts. Take a look at your printer, or even high-end farming equipment like John Deere tractors. Companies have spent years arguing in court that you don't actually own the hardware you paid for. You're just a licensee. They've placed digital locks on the internal components. If you try to swap out a battery yourself or use a third-party ink cartridge, the software detects it and bricks the device. This is the Phoebus Cartel on steroids. Back in 1924, they had to physically thin a wire to make it break. Today, they just push a performance update that slows down your processor under the guise of battery health right as the new model hits the shelves. They have engineered a world where repair is effectively illegal or impossible, not because the physics is too hard, but because the code forbids it. Then you have the nightmare that is fast fashion. This is the ultimate replacement tax. A shirt made in 1950 was double-stitched, used high-quality cotton, and was built to be mended. A shirt from 2025 is often a polyester blend, specifically designed to degrade after 5 washes. The fibers are shorter, the stitching is weaker, and the whole thing is chemically treated to look good on a hanger but disintegrate in a machine. This creates a landfill economy, where companies like Shein or Zara thrive by selling you micro-trends that fall apart before the next trend even arrives. It turns your wardrobe into a subscription service of garbage.
This creates a massive economic drain on your life. Think about the boots theory we've discussed before, but apply it to your laptop. If you buy a $1,000 laptop that is glued shut with a soldered battery and non-replaceable memory, you aren't an owner. You are a renter. When that battery inevitably dies in 3 years, that $1,000 machine is e-waste. If it were designed like a classic 2005 laptop, you could spend $50 on a new battery and keep going. That one design choice, glue versus screws, costs you $950 every single time it happens. When you multiply that across your phone, your headphones, your kitchen appliances, and your vacuum, you are bleeding thousands of dollars every decade. You are being robbed in slow motion, and it's all to keep the corporate growth charts moving up. We've built a version of prosperity that literally requires the destruction of the things we buy just to keep the factories running. You are the fuel for that engine, and your bank account is the oil that keeps it lubricated. This brings us to the final evolution of the Phoebus spirit, the subscription trap. Corporations eventually realized that even if they make things break, there is still a window of time where you aren't paying them. To fix this leak in their revenue, they stopped selling you products entirely and started selling you permissions. We've seen BMW try to charge a monthly fee just to use the heated seats already built into the car. We've seen Adobe stop selling software and start renting it to you for a perpetual monthly tribute. If you stop paying, you lose access to your own work. This is the you will own nothing economy. It ensures that your wealth is constantly being drained, month after month, leaving you with zero assets to show for it at the end of the year. You are on a consumption treadmill that is designed to never let you off. The most frustrating part of this is that our entire modern economy actually needs this waste to survive. Economists call it the paradox of thrift. If we all suddenly decided to buy only cast iron pans, safety razors, and cars that lasted 20 years, the GDP would collapse. Factories would shutter, the stock market would tank, and the gears of industry would grind to a halt. Our current version of prosperity is built on the velocity of trash. We dig materials out of the ground, turn them into products, sell them to you, and then you bury them in a landfill 6 months later so you can buy the next version.
If that cycle slows down, the system fails. We have built a global civilization that relies on destruction. Your wallet is being systematically emptied just to keep a line on a graph moving upward.
So the question is, are we doomed to just buy garbage forever? Not necessarily, but it requires a total shift in how you think about your money. There is a growing movement of people who are opting out of this cycle, and if you want to protect your wealth, you need to join them. I call it the buy it for life philosophy. It's about being a conscious rebel against the cartel. When you need a vacuum, don't go to the big box store and buy the plastic one with the fancy lights. Go find the ugly, commercial-grade one that hotels use. It might cost twice as much up front, but it will last 10 times longer, and more importantly, it can actually be repaired. When you buy a laptop, check the repairability score first. If a company uses glue instead of screws and refuses to sell you spare parts, they aren't a service provider. They are a scammer. Don't give them your capital. You also have to audit your digital life. Reject the subscription model whenever there is a viable alternative. Buy the older car with fewer computer chips and more mechanical parts. Use open source software. Every time you choose to fix an item instead of tossing it in the bin, you are committing a small act of rebellion against the legacy of the Phoebus Cartel. You are choosing to keep your hard-earned capital in your own pocket instead of letting it leak out into a corporate balance sheet. We have to stop viewing new as synonymous with better. In the age of planned obsolescence, new often just means value engineered, which is code for we figured out how to use thinner metal and cheaper plastic. There is a reason why cast iron pans from the 1920s sell for a premium today. They were made before the engineers were told to cut corners. The spirit of that secret meeting in 1924 is still running the world, but it only works if we stay asleep. Every time a hinge snaps on your headphones or your phone mysteriously slows down, remember, that wasn't an accident. It was a design choice. It was a calculated decision to turn your property back into their profit. The only way to win is to refuse to play the game. Be the person who repairs. Be the person who drives the 10-year-old car. Be the glitch in their algorithm of failure. If this opened your eyes to why your appliances keep dying, share this with someone who is tired of the waste. We have to start valuing things that last. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.